Yo, you already know it's your boy Sneakerlochead back at it again with another podcast. Hey yo, today this marks the beginning. This is season 2, episode 1. Guys, can you believe it, man? We went through the first episode 46, or the first season 46 episodes, man. Now we're on the second season, and it's gonna be better than the first one because the whole goal is to get better each day, right? So that's what we're doing. So now that you know this is the second season, episode 1, I have somebody here with me, a guest with me. As you can look at the colors, you may already know who it is. I don't know. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Joe Pace from the Mississippi Seawolves, the new hockey team in town.
That's it, guys. Hey, and I'm telling you, back in the day, it was like the 90s, I think it was, where, we had the Seawolves, and it was a big thing, and all of a sudden it was just gone. We didn't have them anymore, and that's all that we had,
Well, it did end abruptly for a lot of people. The end of the Seawolves came a few years after Katrina, but Katrina hit, and the team was kicked out of the building for 2 full years while they renovated. They came back for 2 seasons, but they didn't really pick up where they left off, and a lot of fans didn't even get to see them goodbye. Maybe that season fans didn't even go to games that usually go to a bunch every season.
Right.
Just the way it was all working out, people trying to rebuild after that storm. And then they brought in a new team right away. So it all it was just a weird transition for hockey.
Yeah. It sure was. I remember back in the day, and I didn't go to a lot because, I was in school. I wasn't able to go to a lot, but I did go to a game, and the style, it's funny because we used to wear the hockey jerseys. They were the big ones with the sleeves that come all the way down the forearm. Those were nice. Those were days.
And we're gonna bring that back again, and that's the fun part is you get to dust off your old stuff out of the closet and bring out that old swag again. Some of those old jerseys, those vintage jerseys, they're cooler than the new stuff.
Yeah, man.
It's like sneakers. You dust off those old ones out of the closet, people start asking where you got them.
So we talk about sneakers. Now that's my lane, and that's the thing, a lot of old styles that bring that nostalgic memory back to people, especially for people that were, the 90s was their era, or the 80s, and like you said, with the jerseys being, bring the dust them off and bring it back in action again, means a lot.
Well, and hockey players were the same way. It might not be sneakers, but old skates, old gloves, old helmets, sticks, that old style look. We all think it's cool. It's cool to be old school.
It is, man. So speaking of the skates, what type of skates is it that you guys wear?
So there's a few big skate companies. Nike was in it for a while, same with Reebok. So the big names from the sneaker industry came on with hockey in the 90s to start producing skates. Reebok stayed on through the early 2000s. And, the kind of hockey companies took that market back. So there's CCM, which is a Canadian company that built up over a long time. There's Bauer, which is a Canadian company, but operates a lot in the U.S. now and stuff like that. And then there's True Hockey, which was originally just made out of a guy's garage in Manitoba and Winnipeg. And he was making them out of his garage, and he sold that patent, and now True's making it, which I think they make some lacrosse stuff as well. But Warriors in the game, Warrior Sports is in hockey as well. They don't produce skates, but the 2 big ones are Bauer and CCM, and there's a few smaller ones below that, but it's not really a big market. It's not like shoes.
Hey, man, but there could be the mark of the beginning, man, because people down here have been, especially with the pandemic and everything, people are dying to go out and do something. And we were talking the other day, people are, at the end of the hockey games, you got people going out there going skating, and that's the opportunity to go to buy some skates and things like that. So, that might start being the big market, at least down here.
Well, yeah, it definitely, if you're going to be skating all the time, you probably want to skate in your own skates.
Yeah.
They kind of get molded to your foot, so when you rent a pair of skates, You go, you pay, you go out to public skating at the Coliseum down here in Biloxi. You're going to get skates. They might not fit your foot perfectly. It might not be the most perfect fit, where if you get your own, you could bake them. You could put them either in your oven at home or the oven at the shop where you buy them. They have these ovens, you heat them up. It kind of molds it because a lot of it's leather and plastic. So you get to really mold it to your foot, almost like what they do with the new ski boots for snow skiing. But yeah, so it's a real custom fit. That's why some of the used ones or ones that are just rentals might feel funny on someone's foot or hurt their ankle. So we definitely suggest, if you're skating all the time and you want to be, one of the regulars, get your own skates.
Yeah. Well, speaking of molding and cooking and baking and putting it in the oven, the only thing I can relate to that is when I had mouthpieces.
Oh, yeah.
You get the mouthpiece, put it in some boiling water, and then mold it to your teeth. So,
right, you don't want to wear someone else's mouth guard. It won't fit you the same way. That's the same way with pro hockey players and skates. If we both were wearing a 10.5 shoe, the skate sizes are off.
Okay.
So like we're a 10.5 shoe, we might be in between like a 7.5 and an 8.5 skate. It matters how wide your foot is and things like that. So if you have a wider foot, you're gonna have to go up like half a size. Things like that to get a little more room in there. But we wouldn't be able to just switch skates in the middle of the game because I have them molded to my ankle. Yours isn't going to feel the same. You can do it, but at the same time, you're going to be out there and it's going to feel funky.
Yeah, you won't be comfortable.
So it's all about that custom gear.
It's about the custom gear. So that's one thing that I didn't know, fam. I don't know if you knew. I mean, we're talking about hockey, but at the same time, it kind of went right back around to, not just sneakers, but just shoe wear, footwear. And you heard it first. When it comes to ice skates, you got to get them and you have to mold them to your feet so you can perform the way that you need to perform. So and we don't have, and if we do have lacrosse here, it's not really spoken of that much, lacrosse. And then prior to the team coming back with hockey, after Katrina, it wasn't really spoken about. It was a memory. We were just speaking of when it was here. The Shuckers, they came in, they were doing their thing. We were like, okay, we got baseball, but what about the Seawolves when they were here? And now, went to the game and so many people came and it was big numbers. I think that sold the deal.
Yep. So we really, the 3 games we had in December, we really had to show everyone that there was a market for hockey again. So we couldn't just come in and have very measly, low attendance crowds for the 3 games and just say, we had to have that shock factor. Okay. And that was the first hockey game to be considered a complete sold out crowd, have to turn people away since the 1999 Kelly Cup Finals game when the Seawolves won the championship. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about a championship game, and then we're talking about a neutral site game where 2 teams played in a neutral location in front of fans that don't have any invested interest, and we got that game as a sold out. So I'm like, literally, we need a sellout crowd for our home opener in October because we proved that the people want it. Yeah. So now we got to see them show up for when it's really their team and they got something to root for.
Yep, that's true. I went out there, and the second night was bigger. The crowd was bigger the second night than the first night. And the first night it was big. It was a huge turnout. Traffic was crazy. It's like, man, number one, I don't have patience. In Mississippi, we don't have rush hour. So when you get off work and you tell you call your wife or call your husband or whoever it is and say, hey, I'll be home in about 15 minutes. You can actually be home in 15 minutes versus living in Virginia or DC. It's going to probably take you 2 hours to get home, even though you don't stay that far away. So when it came to the hockey game that night, I'm getting off work. I came home, got my son because he went with me. And I'm like, man, this traffic, man, I'm getting frustrated, man, the traffic. But then I had to understand, hold on a second, man, the Seawolves are back. That's why. Let's do this thing. So I started to get excited. The only thing is, the traffic was so much and congested that even after the game started, it was still people coming in.
Well, and that's the thing, we love it down here. Born and raised, me and my wife, in Chicago, we know traffic.
Yeah.
And, even when we saw that, we were shocked to see how congested Highway 90 was. And we do want fans to know, if you want to sneak in the back way, best way is to come down off Pass Road, down Beauvoir, and turn in to gate 2 or 3, and you can sneak in the backside. And it does get you into the lot a lot faster. You might not be the closest spot to the door, but you're going to park faster. Instead of sitting in that traffic trying to get the best spot, you could go for a secondary spot in one of the back lots and be in the door faster than the guy that wants that primo spot in front of the door.
Yep.
So gate 2 and 3 off Beauvoir are your options coming to the game to beat some of that Highway 90 traffic. But we heard from people that were just coming from, they went in 8 at the mall, and they're trying to get from Edgewater Mall to the Coliseum, and they were like, it took me over an hour.
Yeah.
They were shocked, and we are too. But those are some of the kinks. We'll try to help the Coliseum work out, and I know they have off-duty police officers there to kind of direct traffic and help things flow along. And we hope that it really doesn't annoy that many people. But it's exciting to have such a big event that's one of your problems is we got traffic up and down the major roads.
Yeah, I mean it's more than just something to do. I mean, you're looking forward to this thing for like weeks in advance, and then when that traffic hits, it's like that's the reality of it. Like, man, it makes you feel like you're in a big city, and Mississippi does have some bigger cities, but it's not like Chicago areas or Michigan.
You're not going into downtown New York City traffic, but it's nice to see a few blocks of congestion just because of the hockey game.
Yeah.
But some people did message me, and they're like, send in bumper to bumper traffic. This is awesome. And I know what they were thinking. These guys are from bigger cities, and they're transplants down here as well. Yeah. And they're like, it reminded them of heading to a Red Sox game or a Yankees game where you're just in congestion, and everyone in that traffic with you is going to the same place.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. I told my son about it, and then he was like, "Hold on, is that what?" And he loved the whole thing, man. I think that was his first game ever, going to a hockey game, and he enjoyed it. Still talks about it now. So, it was wonderful, man. So, hockey's on the rise. So stay tuned because it's here. And then eventually, so we got baseball, now we have hockey. We're probably gonna, who's to say that we can't get basketball and even football down here, man?
Absolutely. The Coliseum is so awesome, such a big facility. At some point there's going to be other facilities built along the coast. They see the need for it. We're filling up weekends already for this upcoming season because we're going to play from October till April.
Okay.
So, we fill up a lot of the year, picking up those open weekend dates outside the big concerts, but we'll still have the Luke Bryants and, all those big acts coming through town. And we'll have to work our schedule around them and the Disneys and the Mardi Gras events and all that stuff. So there's a lot of things that come through, besides just hockey and basketball. So if a basketball team wanted to play too, we would probably have the whole year booked up, especially if we're in the same season, if we overlap at all. But if we get another venue in town, we could possibly play even on the same nights and things like that.
Yep.
So, or on the same weekends, and the turnover wouldn't be that hard going from ice to covering it up to have the basketball floor. But there is options in the future because we have a market for it. The Coliseum during the summer gets a little slower. What about arena soccer or arena lacrosse? You said lacrosse is not spoken about too much, but in 10 years, I guarantee you a lot of kids down here on the coast are playing like on their high school teams and stuff. That's how it worked by me growing up. It wasn't that big, and about a 10-year mark, all of a sudden it just exploded. It got so big, it was the thing to do at every high school.
Yeah, man. So that rugby, maybe rugby.
Gosh. Right? I think we need a bigger field for that. Maybe we can play it on the beach rugby.
Could. Good. That's a nice ring to that. Beach rugby.
The hockey players were blown away at the games. The guys that were coming down to play, they didn't know a lot about Mississippi, Biloxi. They didn't know about the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. They got here, they see the beaches, the water, the building. You come out the door, you just see the Gulf. And they just thought it was some of the coolest. And then all the casinos we got in town, everyone's like, so how do I get traded here? So the recruiting aspect of our team is easy because it's a sought after place. We haven't even played our first season and everyone wants to be here. Just on, look at us. Yeah. It's February. We're sitting outside doing a podcast.
That's what we're doing, man. So. And man, it's excellent, man. It's so many big dreams. So, we've always had the casinos for a long time. And we've had some other things, but with the casinos being here, then we have different musicians different artists coming to the Coliseum performing and things like that. And then on top of that, baseball and then hockey. So like you said, eventually maybe some beach rugby. Speaking of maybe bringing some lacrosse down. So like you said, we have the market for it. It's really nice out here. And as far as that, because I know that with you and your guys, you do a lot of things for the community as well. So that's another thing. That's what it's about. Come out here and what about like if I forgot the cup. It's not the Stanley Cup.
Well, it's our Stanley Cup, the Commissioner's Cup of the Federal League. So it's awarded to the winner of the playoffs, the Commissioner's Cup, and I had the pleasure of winning it twice and losing in the finals twice. So I've been there 4 times out of 10 or 11 years. So it's fun, exciting. It's good hockey. So we play a really old school style of hockey, which means there's a lot of bumping, a lot of hitting, a lot of fighting, all that pushing and shoving that gets the crowd into it. That's kind of what we promote. We want the guys playing that rough style of hockey, but at the same time, playoff hockey's always been like that.
Yeah.
So what happens in one of the rougher leagues when you get to rough hockey time? It gets a little crazier. There's less fights, but there's more hits, there's more intensity, and it's really good hockey. It's good games, and everyone's up for it in the room. Like, some games there's guys, the wear of the season, you're playing almost 60 games. We played 56 games. So they're kind of wore down, You're like, you got 3 games in a weekend. By Sunday, you're kind of exhausted. It's hard to get your adrenaline up before the game. But, those games, it's no problem.
Oh, man. It's a lot of, I know it's mentally draining as well as physically draining. But if that's what you're doing, you love every minute of it. So you find that strength and power somewhere.
Yeah, you got to dig deep.
Got to dig deep. And for the kids that's listening, anything that you want to do, you're gonna have to dig deep and do it, man. You gotta each day. You want the goal to be each day you're getting better than you were the previous day. Always, whether that's school, whether that's work, whether that's even cleaning your room. You start off making your bed first. Make sure that where you are is a neat area, and then you keep going to the next level. That's something small, but the whole point is to get better every time, every day.
Well, I like that you were saying that even in the intro, because I was like, oh man, I had that on my wall the last job I worked in Port Huron, right next to my desk.
Yeah.
It was right there. It was like, be better today than you were yesterday.
Yes, sir.
So, that's a saying. It's all over. It's not just here on this podcast. It's what you really got to do to keep improving.
Yeah.
Or you're going to get complacent and you're going to start lacking and you're going to fall behind and you're going to have that lag in life where you're going to say, I wish I shoulda, coulda, I got that done in time, or I did that, or hey, I wish I started that podcast years ago. It would have built up into something.
Yeah, you got to do it. So I go by this thing called DOPE. It's DOPE, right? You might see a shirt sometimes that says DOPE for me. It's dedication, optimistic persistence, and execution. DOPE. And that's what all of that is going toward growth. That's the whole point. Growth, no matter what it is that you do. So if you have some aspirations to becoming a hockey player, you have to, and are we going to be having that soon for kids?
No, yeah. So right now there is the Gulf Coast Minor Hockey Association. They were called the Aces this year. Next year, they're going to be the Junior Sea Wolves. So
Okay.
youth hockey back on the Gulf Coast is going to be moving back into the Junior Sea Wolves. So hopefully that bumps up the numbers. Hopefully having the pro team here bumps up the numbers. But there was a good amount of kids that signed up this year to be a part of youth hockey. They got to skate just over a dozen times practicing at the Coliseum in the few weeks the ice was in, and then they got to play some friendly pickup games. They're like exhibition games against Pensacola and Lafayette.
So it's a little bit of traveling.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
cool.
they came by us, we went by them. So my son plays, and it's going to be exciting next year to play more cities, so we can maybe go to Birmingham and host them. So the last 7 years without a pro team at the Coliseum, the ice was only in for maybe 8 to 10 weeks. So they had this small 2-month window. Last year, because of the COVID, they got it longer. The Coliseum didn't have any big concerts coming in. They didn't have the rodeo. So all of a sudden, they kept the ice until almost March, which was a treat for youth hockey. But most years it was really short. It's like 2 months, and you have some events in there like Disney. So it's like no one could skate for a week or so because of Disney. So you're losing time even while you got in for that short period. So this next year, youth kids will be able to hit the ice in October, and they'll be able to skate until the end of March, early April. So it's going to be exciting for kids.
That's a pretty good length of time.
Yeah, I think parents are going to be shocked because the cost of a season's going to go up. But what you're getting is probably 5 times more ice or more. You're going to get like 10 times the amount of ice times you got in seasons past. So you're going to have to pay more to contribute to purchasing the ice and all that.
Yeah, and then in the long run, it kind of comes back around to the community. Like like when the casinos make money, they make it. Then something else you see that wasn't there before comes up because of all the money just getting just generated into the community.
Well, and that's what we really hope is everyone's excited on those game nights. They're spending money downtown, youth hockey, building, growing. Well, that brings money into the community. How? Well, when they host those other teams are coming in and staying Friday, Saturday night. They're coming in Friday to play early Saturday morning, staying in town Saturday night, eating in town, and then playing on Sunday morning, and then heading back to wherever they're from, stuff like that. So hockey does generate a lot for the community, especially the travel and restaurant industries. It's just making people realize that.
Yep. It's going down. It is about to, it's going to be real big. I'm excited for it. And it's going to have people wanting to stay because, I've born and raised in Mississippi, and I know people, they were down here and some opportunities aren't here. So then they'll go other places, but wish that they could stay here, but they got to go, to that, where that opportunity is. So this will eventually, it's going to take some time, but eventually Mississippi's going to have a lot of things here, a lot of different opportunities where you don't have to go travel X amount of miles to get what you're looking for when you have it right here at home.
Well, and so you come down to, you got like the, four major sports, and none of them are home based in Mississippi.
Right.
So, that's where some people are like, oh, we don't have MLB team. We don't have an NBA team. We don't have an NFL team. We don't have an NHL team. Like what do we got? We got college and we got the minors. But, it's actually, you could get a little more into college sports and the minor leagues. College, you're getting those players for 4 years, unless they fail out or transfer out or something like that. Hockey and the minors, you see a lot of the core group of guys coming back together. Also with minor league sports, you could go to a Shuckers game or come to a Seawolves game next year and meet the players after the game, take pictures with the players, interact with them. When could you go to a Yankees game and just go and meet the starting pitcher or something after the game and shake his hand and just say, hey, great game, bud, and take a picture and leave? Not even an autograph, but just that interaction and just shaking someone's hand and saying hello and, like having a personal connection to them. And that's what minor league sports brings to fans that major league sports just can't.
Right.
The players are too sought after there.
Yeah. And then, I have a Seawolves hat on, go to the airport somewhere, I'm in a different area. I like the hat. Where you get that from, man? And then I start giving a little bit of the history or a little bit of what I know about hockey on the coast. Then that attracts, man. I didn't know that y'all had this. I thought all y'all had was just this one thing. Oh, y'all have that as well? Okay. And then start kind of Googling it, and then that right there sparks, a bigger fire as far as, man, so Mississippi has a lot more to offer than what I heard or what I thought. And like you said, it's more personable when you have the minor league teams here, and just own it. I mean, like, I have something, and I'm gonna just be proud of what we have now, because as far as football and basketball, we talk about the New Orleans Pelicans and we talk about the New Orleans Saints, and that's cool. I mean, I grew up that way, but I'm saying it's good to say, well, my team is like maybe 30 miles down the road, 15 miles down the road.
Well, and people might not understand from outside the area that are listening to this how close we are to New Orleans.
Yeah.
But, like, we're close. We could go over to a game and be back and be home at a reasonable time. It's not like we're getting home at 3:30 in the morning.
Right.
So, like, with the hour and a half drive, you could be back, or afternoon game. It's an easy trip, stuff like that. Well, I was pretty shocked when I was flying back in November. I landed in New Orleans. When we were getting off the plane, someone had said something to me. They were like, "Are you part of the hockey team that's trying to bring back the Seawolves?" I was like, "Yeah." I was wearing one of the shirts, and she was like, "We live over here, but we bought tickets to one of the games." And I was like, "No way." And she was like, "Yeah, we used to love going to hockey here and over there a long time ago.
Yep.
Grew up doing it." And she's like, "Now I got kids, so we're going to bring them over for a game." And I thought that was so cool, because I knew we were reaching people here on the Gulf Coast in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
I know some Mobile people had ventured over and bought tickets. I just didn't know how we were going to reach people in that bigger market. Because you say Pensacola, Mobile, Pascagoula, Biloxi, Gulfport, Bay St. Louis, you're like, okay, now you say New Orleans.
Yeah,
that's one of like the 10 major cities in America.
Yep,
so, you're like, oh my gosh, and we're reaching people there too.
Yeah.
So it's very exciting.
Man, that's good news. So I'm excited for it. I've already been to a couple of games, and each game I went to was lovely. I enjoyed the crowd. I enjoyed the communication from the person who was on the ice talking, and then your style of play. You now this is apples and oranges, right? But speaking from someone who, the big basketball fan in the '90s, I compare. And I don't know who I can compare you to as far as hockey from back in the day before you were in the hockey, but I kind of compare the style and the attitude somewhat to Dennis Rodman in a way, because Dennis Rodman was a smart guy and he knew what he was doing, but he was also he was bringing the crowd. The crowd was just he knew that he was going to get a lot of people in the seats watching the game.
If they'd start calling me the worm, I'm blaming this on you. But yeah, I can see why someone's like, oh, he plays like Rodman. Rodman, great rebounder, great defensive player, smart offensively. But, really, yeah, like I'm playing defense. I'm trying to play that like tough, edgy style where you're like riding the line of, is that too far?
Yeah.
Like, did he just take it too far?
Man, come on.
But that's the thing. I guess I've always played like that. So, it's just I guess the way I was raised was to play rough and tough, and that's the thing. It's just a game, and it's a sport, and it's a competition, and it's a physical game and competition. So at the same time, it's part of it. So there are guys out there that are finesse players, we call them, where they're skilled guys. They don't want to be touched. They don't want to touch anyone else. And if I could touch him enough throughout the game, just a little touch with my stick, a little hook, a little elbow bump here and there, he's going to get annoyed. He's going to get annoyed. All of a sudden, you start rubbing him into the glass, You slow him down. All those little bumps and bruises over the course of a game slow a guy down. And, they might slow yourself down too. It's a wear and tear on the body. But, honestly, that style of game, I've also felt like it's self-preservation, because, the tougher you play, the more guys want to stay away from you. So you hit and cross-check guys and fight, and all of a sudden, no one wants to cross-check or hit you. And it's like, okay, I kind of get left alone.
Yeah, man. So it's like that, like the old style of play, basically. And so, we need that because when we talk about basketball, and I know that we're talking about hockey, but when we talk about basketball, we say, oh, it's not like it used to be. When we talk about football, we say it's not like it used to be as far as the way that people hit, or even basketball, how you had tough guys on the court. You go through the center and try to dunk the ball, you might think twice because it was a different ball game in that center. And now you with hockey in the way that you play, it's like you come to play. It's a physical sport, and you are gonna play the game just like it's supposed to be played. It's physical. Let's get the job done. Let's score some points and let's win some games.
Yeah, and absolutely. Same thing. Like right now you have like that small body center in the NBA became popular. Same thing in hockey. It was all about having big, huge defensemen. Now it's all about speed. So what happens when you want speed? You can't go with the big guy. You got to go with the smaller guy. Yeah. So the game's changed. It was like hockey was for like an average size guy. Then it went to an oversized guy. Now it's back to an average size guy. Yeah. So it's kind of like one team, if they have success with something, everyone tries to replicate it. Right. So it's like, oh, they have a big team, I need a big team. Oh, this team had a skilled team, I need a skilled team. So sometimes people get so caught up with just trying to replicate something that worked for someone else, try to do in your own thing. So I think some of the best hockey teams, you have a mixture of everything. You got to fill every role. You got to have that big guy. He might be slower than everyone else, but he's that big, intimidating body. Yeah. Then you got to have a few skilled guys. You got to have your goal scorers, your playmakers. Got to have that good stand on his head, stellar goalie that just builds that brick wall, and he could stop anything, keep you in any game. And then after that, you have all those different roles, like the stay-at-home defenseman, which I consider myself, not jumping up in the play, trying to score a lot, trying to stay back, play sound defense. Like we call them grinders, the forwards that are, kind of not making big plays, scoring big goals, but they're doing all the grunt work. Okay. They're chasing down loose pucks. They're trying to win battles. So every time there's a loose puck, we want to be the first to that loose puck, win that race. It's kind of like anytime there's a fumble, you want to recover it, right? So it's like those grunt guys are in charge of all that stuff. So it's a tough job. Anytime there's loose pucks in the offensive zone, you expect those guys to be all over it like hound dogs, just chasing down defensemen, making them panic. You rush a quarterback, he's going to make a bad play. Same thing, if you rush a defenseman and he feels pressure, he's going to make a bad pass, turn it over in his defensive zone, and you're getting more offense.
Right. So, guys, if you never knew about hockey or never heard of it, Mr. Pace here just told you. If you're thinking in football terms, he just broke it down for you that way. If you're thinking of it in basketball terms, he just broke it down for you that way. So if you want to get introduced to hockey, but you don't even really know what the positions are or what's it even about, number one, the goal is to get the puck in the goal, to get a point. Basketball, hooping, football, cross the goal line, get a touchdown.
Some hockey, a little hockey lingo, put the biscuit in the basket.
Put the biscuit in the basket. I like that. So, it kind of, transfers over as far as to help you understand the game of hockey. I heard a lot of guys getting thud into the glass, and I would think, okay, that move is gonna for sure start a fight, and it wouldn't. It'll be allowed. I'm like, dang, okay, I guess it will. They must be the finesse players who don't want to be.
And not every hit could lead to a fight because hitting's such a big part of the game. Yeah. So sometimes what the fans don't know, it's who hits who. Yeah. Like I'm the skill guy, goal scorer. You're the grinder, enforcer. Well, you run me over. Well, all of a sudden our grinder, enforcer guy kind of comes up to you and like, hey man, can't do that. Like. Piss off. Well, we're fighting. Yeah, man. It's like, if everyone respects each other, it's pretty laid back, easy game. You have guys staying in their lanes. Like, you're a big guy, you won't hit a little guy. Well, all of a sudden, every once in a while, you see that big guy just go after that little guy, and that team is just going to lose it. That's where you're going to see 5-6 guys chasing that one guy around.
Yeah, it's exciting.
That's what the fans want, but they want to see us go 20 on 20 in the middle of the ice.
Like almost like as soon as the skates hit the ice, they want the fight.
Yep.
Yeah, man, it's exciting.
Fight during warm-ups.
Yeah, I guess you could do that. Yeah. Well, man, look, it's been exciting, man. Able to talk to you about hockey on the podcast, man. I do appreciate you coming. Speaking to the fans. I got a few followers or whatnot, and I speak of hockey everywhere I go, so I'm promoting that way as well, so we can have even a more of a major turnout. So I appreciate that. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add to the?
March 8th, season tickets are going on sale. We just moved into our new office downtown D'Iberville, right by the post office. So come down on the 8th and get your season tickets, or put down that deposit to hold yours. And let's make sure that when hockey's back now, it's the most exciting thing, hottest ticket in town, because it's the coolest game on the coast.
Yeah, man. Can't wait. October, right?
Yep.
Can't wait for it. Well, so we've done it again. Season 2, episode 1. Stay tuned for more. Again, it's your boy, Mr. Sneakerlochead. Again, with another podcast. Stay tuned for the next one. Peace.
We're out of